So yes, I think I can start the session now. My name is Leen Segers and I'm founder and CEO of LucidWeb. So today I've been invited to present LucidAREurope, our latest experience in web-based augmented reality. First of all, I wish to thank the organizers today for the impeccable organization so far, and also pushing basically an offline event to a fully virtual experience. I think it's important that we all make that leap. It takes a lot of courage, and so far I feel like this event is really thriving. So congratulations to the organizers. So today I'm going to discuss LucidWeb, the company, our team, the work that we have been doing in the space, so related to web-based VR and web-based AR. And then I'm going to introduce a project that we have submitted as part of an EU-funded program called Stars for Media. And the project that we have submitted is called LucidAREurope, and this is what I'm going to present to you today. And at the end, I will leave 5 minutes for questions and answers. So if anyone is interested to learn more, if some of the points that I covered today are not clear, please, I will keep an eye on the questions for the end. So first of all, who am I? So my name is Leen, and I started my career basically with Accenture here in Brussels. In the next step, I started working with a startup called Netlog, which was one of the most popular social media websites before basically Facebook entered Europe. Then I kind of switched to online video, working from London. I worked with 2 startups, more mature startups in online video distribution. Came back and became COO of Tech.eu. Tech.eu, you might know, is a well-known publication covering the ecosystem here in Europe, the tech ecosystem here in Europe. And then in 2016, basically, I had the chance to have a first virtual reality experience. And based upon, of course, my ambition to start my own company, but also finding a technology and a product that I felt would be interesting enough to focus on for the next 5-10 years, I decided to set up LucidWeb. So LucidWeb is now almost 3 years old. Officially, it was created in 2017 after an investment of IMEC, an accelerator program here in Belgium. And then the company evolved, and then last year we had our first angel investors step in, do a first pre-seed round, and today we're basically launching our platform as a commercial solution. So the platform is called LucidWeb Pro, and I will tell you a bit of the technology in a second. Apart from being a startup founder, I'm also founder of Women in Immersive Tech, a nonprofit focusing on diversity in XR, so VR and AR in Europe. It's a quite engaging community on Facebook. We have now more than 1,900 members across Europe. And then also a part of XR for All, which is a European Commission focused funded project focused on accelerating VR and AR in Europe. The team, I'm not going to go into each profile. I just wanted to highlight that for me, of course, as a female tech founder, diversity is important at every level. So we have basically investors that is a healthy balance between male and female, but also the team. I think it's quite important for me that also in the engineering team we have a healthy balance, and the whole team represents that as well. So we have a board of directors with 3 of the 5 are women. We have a team and investors where all the diversity balances are safeguarded, basically. So before I go into more detail about the work that we're doing, I think it's quite important to take a little step back and say, okay, what is virtual reality and what is augmented reality? What is the difference? Virtual reality is where you basically are teleported to another destination. You forget about reality, you travel to another destination, you are in a cinematic story, you're completely immersed. The whole 360 sphere around you is virtual. That's VR. AR, on the other hand, is you stay in reality and you bring virtual layers into the room that you are. So you're basically augmenting reality with digital layers. The traditional, and this becomes a bit more technical, the traditional way of showcasing or distributing virtual reality and augmented reality is done via applications. So like you have applications on your telephone, what does it mean? You have to build an app, it has to submit it to a store, and then the audience can buy it from that store or download it for free, and then they can start using it. The same goes for the headsets. You have to build an app, make your content available in that app, and then the audience needs to download it from the store that is available in the headset. So as a company, we truly believe that it's key for these frontier technologies like VR and AR that the journey towards is really easy and intuitive. So therefore, we are the biggest advocates of browser-based VR and browser-based AR, meaning that via the consumer browser, you just have immediate access to the content. So this basically is done like you're sharing news today. It's just via sharing a URL. So you click on a link and the experience is not 2D, but it's 3D because the browser allows it. So again, browser-based VR and AR helps you to create a direct line between the content and the consumer. For VR, as in the example above, it's mobile VR, meaning that you have an experience on your phone. If you move around, then the images follow you. Means that you can, from the browser, click on a piece of content and immediately you're immersed, in this case, on your phone. For AR, it's the case of the IKEA app. You can, for example, put a digital couch or a digital sofa into your room. So basically, again, augmenting the space with digital layers. What have we done in both areas so far? As an introduction, to come to the LucidAR project, I think it's important that the same technology already has been validated by international, and in this case, Fortune 500 brands. So for NetApp, we rolled out a web AR experience for them to basically built the brand at an event of Cisco in Barcelona. So at the event location, the attendees were asked to look for certain markers across the event venue. If they find a marker, they unlocked 3D, and of course the 3D is not known in the beginning. So for every marker, there was a different 3D model that was actually shown. And if you collected the 6 of them, if you find the 6 of them in the event venue, then the puzzle pieces came together and you could win. You could actually go to a booth and then exchange the puzzle for, in this case, a jacket. So the experience was super successful. Again, why? Because the event attendee didn't need to download an app. It was basically available from the browser, so they could immediately start engaging with the content. Another brand that we have worked for is Coca-Cola, where we've done proof of concepts, but also proof of concept to basically show at the point of sales how to increase the engagement with the brand. So in this case, in a supermarket, by finding a Coca-Cola plastic bottle and by using the marker, 3D balls of 3D footballs basically appeared in the area around the placement of Coca-Cola. And if you find the different footballs, then you could exchange basically this for a coupon at the cashier. But we also worked in web VR, so virtual reality, where we focused more on journalism. So this is a collaboration with the Flemish public broadcaster. The collaboration is called Mama Congo. they wanted, in a creative way, bring the whole, bring the election campaign closer to a Belgian audience. So they went with their team to Congo and took a 360 camera to do a recording, to do portraits of 6 women. Instead of putting those portraits one below the other on a simple web page, we created a sphere environment, a kind of app experience where you actually could select a portrait of one of the 6 women featured, and you could listen to their wish list for the next president in Congo. So you're basically drawn in by their own story, because you basically see where they live, what they do, and what they wish for. This experience was not only available on desktop and mobile, but also in the most important headsets today, for example, the Oculus Go and the Oculus Quest. We also worked on really more like niche projects. This is a niche project with Arte, the biggest public European broadcaster, where they already invested in building an application. Like I mentioned before, applications, it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to build. And also from the audience, you're immediately expecting a high engagement for them to start downloading the app and then running the experience. So Arte basically approached us and said, this is quite a unique IP. It's related to comics, and it's been, we would love to make this available to our audience in a more accessible way. So we transformed this whole IP to a completely web-based experience, which of course brought down the number of steps. You don't have to take storage on your phone. So immediately the engagement rate and the number of people enjoying this IP went up. But today I'm here to introduce Stars for Media project, and the project is called LucidAREurope. So as a bit of background, what happened during the pandemic, during the first months of the pandemic, we saw the Stars for Media program popping up. And we did a brainstorm because we were really intrigued by this opportunity. We knew that like I've shown, we have used our technology for brands like Coca-Cola and NetApp, but we also wish to invest in technology in other kind of applications, because one of the nicest things about VR and AR, it really applies for so many use cases to see really the added value. And we really wanted to focus on a different kind of field. So when we saw the Stars for Media program popping up, we did an internal brainstorm. And based upon that, we basically approached Eractive to see if they were interested to become our media partner. So Stars for Media is a program funded by the EU, and as main consortium partners include the VUB, Fondation Euractiv, the European Federation of Journalists, One Infra, and the European Commission. So we pitched the idea to Euractiv, and they also felt it was a good match, and of course from their more like editorial perspective. And then we applied. So by June, we found out that we were a winner of this program together. I think there were 41 applications, and a couple of other projects were selected too. And we could basically start working on bringing AR to a more citizen engagement focused project. So for those who don't know Euractiv yet, it's a free pan-European news site. It's available in 12 languages and fully dedicated to EU affairs. And it's really seen as a point of reference for a lot of EU decision makers and journalists. A lot of people also say it's a bit like the European Politico. So before I introduce the project more in detail, I think it's important to understand the broader vision of the experience. So what is augmented reality, and what is citizen engagement, and why is it such a good match So first of all, augmented reality, like I already mentioned, it's bringing digital layers into reality. And I think a lot of people know or first knew about augmented reality with Pokemon Go. I think the game at some point reached 45 million daily users, which is of course incredible for a gamified experience that works on your mobile. But a lot of other people might have been using AR via Snapchat. The filters is basically facial recognition combined with augmented reality, or IKEA Spaces, an app that allows you to put, for example, furniture in your own room. But apart from social media, marketing and advertising, augmented reality can add value to a lot of other use cases. So one of these fields is citizen engagement. Basically empowering the citizen with tools to engage and to understand better what public institutions are planning or allocating public funding. A great example of citizen engagement combined with augmented reality is a collaboration with UN Habitat and Ericsson. Basically they did a couple of pilots in Sweden, and the objective was to use augmented reality to make citizens, habitants of a certain city, to make them understand what it would mean if a certain building would be integrated into their local environments. So this project was the objective of these different pilots was, of course, to come to a conclusion. And the conclusion was that these frontier technologies can help bridge the gap between residents and policymakers and improve political outcomes. I mentioned it already a couple of times before, but key to the project is the technology that we're pioneering. So in many cases, augmented reality, virtual reality is done via an app. We really wanted to submit this project advocating web-based AR. So people don't have to download an app. It's basically available on each device. Everyone has a browser. And this research from Artillery basically confirms how big the market potential still is. So if you look at the left, you see the number of devices, and you see that 3 billion devices are equipped with browsers that allow AR. And then on the other hand, you see the active users, and you see again in blue the number of publishers that are today using web AR to do brand activation, to do citizen engagement. So there is such huge potential for this technology to reach devices and people where they are using the phone they have already today. So the project LucidAREurope has a couple of objectives that the project wanted to tackle. I think for European Commission, European Union, I think there's a lot of work in demystifying what the European Commission stands for and all the initiatives it's supporting. What is the practical attribution in daily lives? So with this project, LucidAREurope, we specifically wanted to focus on 4 key challenges. The first one is EU trust and transparency. So according to the Eurobarometer of 2019, 46% of the people in the member countries do not trust the European Union as an institution, and 54% don't know or have a negative image of the European Union. So I think that is an important insight that is interesting to have a look at with the right technology. The second one is EU accountability, or scan to follow. So I think now across Europe with COVID, a lot of citizens, a lot of people will be requested to download an app on their phone. So they will be requested to be scanned, watched, or followed to decrease the virus from spreading and overwhelming the national health services. The tool that we're proposing allows, in a way, to turn the tables. As a citizen, you can also scan a building of the European institutions to see how are they taking responsibility, how are they contributing. And then thirdly, it's a communication channel focused on 25 to 30-year-old. So different research confirmed that it's very difficult to find a creative and effective communication channel to reach that age group. Why it's important? Because those are the people who are also, of course, entitled to vote, so their vote counts. And then the fourth step was to give more visibility, or the key challenge was to give more visibility to the European Open Science Cloud. And this is what I'm going to explain in the next slides. So the European Commission is investing in many areas, a lot of interesting areas that are in many ways definitely not visible enough for its citizens. One of those initiatives that was brought to our attention is the European Open Science Cloud. So how I see it, and maybe the best way to translate it, is that the building blocks are set to create this incredible, comprehensive API that will offer 1.7 million European researchers and 70 million professionals in science and technology a virtual environment for storage, management, analysis, reuse of research data across borders and scientific disciplines. So an amazing infrastructure to carry information that is that is validated and interesting to so many researchers in Europe. But basically, the transfer of that knowledge is not visible enough, or it's not accessible enough. So this API would allow many institutions to tap in and to provide their data, but also make use of that data. It was announced at a summit in 2017, and at that point it was already endorsed by more than 70 institutions. Interesting as well, and important to note, is that this initiative is part of the European Cloud Initiative, which was estimated to receive a budget of 6.7 billion, and so far 400 million has been invested in the European Open Science Cloud since 2017. So the next step basically for this initiative, so now the building blocks are set for the initiative, and now the following months and the following years, institutions will be invited to basically share their information they wish to share on this API and make it available. The original objective of the experience that we had in mind was to basically translate some of the data that is available on this API into 3D models and web AR. But during our due diligence of the readiness of the API, we found that it was too early. So that could be a potential next project, translating directly from the API to see how in Brussels, but also other European cities, how these institutions are connected and which information they're basically making available in this API. But because this project is still ongoing, we decided to slightly move away from that original objective and look at the citizen engagement tool as a way to promote the European Open Science Cloud in a way that is much more engaging than just me presenting slides about the initiative and the resources that are already available online. So maybe also important to know is that the wireframes that I'm going to present are the original wireframes. At the moment that we're speaking, that I'm talking to you, we're actually building the experience. So the delivery, the launch of the app is planned for the 25th of September. So I would definitely recommend to keep following myself, LucidWeb, to then at some point start using and experiencing AR. So these are wireframes, but it gives you a bit of an overview of the user journey and what we're planning to launch. So Interactive, our media partner, is going to set up a page on their website, a page that is, of course, available on desktop and on mobile. The mobile page, of course, is the entry for the experience. So when you're in front of a building here in Brussels, we selected 11 buildings that are linked to the European Open Science Cloud and are important basically for for the journey of the European Open Science Cloud so far in the future, you basically can scan the building. So first of all, there's a privacy confirmation, because what happens is that the browser will make use of your camera. So to, of course, have an insight into the surrounding, the camera of your phone needs to start working. So once you have agreed to the privacy statement, allowed your camera to become active, you can then scan the marker of the building that is basically in front of you. Immediately, you will also see that there is a call to action to start looking for stars. So what happens first is that a 3D model will be unlocked, a 3D model that represents the European Open Science Cloud, which basically is a 3D model, an animated 3D model of the logo. And then the call to action is to start looking around for these 3D models of stars. So the journey now is set for 2 stars, and each star basically gives you an insight in the European Open Science Cloud. So after finding the first star around you, you have an insight. Once you press OK, you have to look for the second star that is also positioned around you. You get a second insight related to the European Open Science Cloud. You get a notification that you basically went through the journey and you found the 2 stars, and then you're immediately then connected back to the page on EOSC, where we're now building the content. So there you will then find more up-to-date news of the European Open Science Cloud, what's happening. So really always a new update related to what is happening related to this initiative. So just being conscious about time, what's next for us? Like I said, we're launching the experience in the end of September. We're currently finalizing the 3D model, the animated 3D model. We're going to put markers across Brussels. Those markers serve as the trigger to unlock this experience. Also, the insights that you will see are basically validated by EOSC. And then also from Reductive side, there will become available a page with the scanner, which is of course central to the experience, more info on the building, and also the latest news of this exciting new API that will become available. So this is still, yes, it's in process. So very excited about the next couple of weeks and to be able to launch it by the 25th. So I'm going to conclude by also just repeating the fact that apart from the WebAR and WebVR custom work we're doing, we're also building a platform so publishers just can start integrating 3D or 360 video themselves without having to move directly via a company like us, but just start publishing instantly. So thank you for your attention today. I'm going to have a look if there's any questions related to this session. So there's one question related to the cost. So I think what is important, if you're building an app, and it's the same for mobile apps, if you're building an app, it costs a lot of time and money to, first of all, build it, but then as well maintain it and also make sure it's always available in the stores. The biggest advantage for web-based AR is just a link that you can easily edit if needed. So on the level of costs, the difference is huge. So normally for a VR and AR application for one device, you can immediately think about 15,000 euros. Our platform for one app, for our platform on a monthly basis, we would charge 600 euros per month. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a different pricing and makes the whole technology a lot more accessible for online publishers. So there's no more questions, and I think I wish to conclude again by thanking you for your interest. And yes, please reach out to me directly at Lenus on Twitter, or just leen@lucidweb.io if you have further questions related to the case today or in general to our technology. Thank you.